What's up, Banana Bunch? Welcome to another episode of the Jungle Gyms podcast. Now, also streaming live to you on Facebook. What's on the menu at the Jungle this week, huh? Well, this week, I'm doing international treats and chocolate. I'm honestly pretty excited to eat these delicious little morsels in front of all of you. Up first, we'll be joined by Jim from our international team to talk about how we get so many interesting and exotic treats at the holidays, and then by local chocolate and treat maker, Ruby's Chocolates. It's gonna be a sugary banger of an episode this week, no doubt. But before we dive into the main course, you know what I'm about to say, unless you are a new listener, maybe you found us on Facebook, but this is where I ask everyone to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. You see, podcast reviews help our standing on platforms, and between writing those reviews and sharing episodes with your friends, it's the cheapest way to show a show that you enjoy some love. And you know what? I want to hit 100 reviews by the end of December, and we can totally do it. We've still got weeks left. Thank you so much to everyone who's already hit us with a review. It's this kind of love that's kept us as one of the world's top 100 food podcasts on Apple Podcasts. That's actually it's kind of nuts, especially when you consider our competition has been doing this for years, and I've realistically only been around for weeks. I had to flex on everyone like that. I'm sorry. I did mention, though, we've got some new listeners on Facebook, so of course I want to welcome you all to the show. What's really cool is that Facebook just started allowing brands to post their shows directly to the platform. So I hope all of you are enjoying being able to listen on Facebook while you can keep scrolling. And you can, hit like on pictures of my dog Morrison, and then also listen to me talk probably about it. Maybe you did it exactly as I said that right now, which would be weird. But speaking of Facebook, I wanted to let you in on another little secret. I met a woman named Shelly recently who is such a super fan of Jungle Gyms that she started a Facebook group to post about all things Jungle Gyms. Like right now, she made her own cheese advent calendar for the holidays. I've been really enjoying watching that. And I love seeing her recipes and other finds that she, finds in the store. I guess that was in the name itself. And Shelly often inspires some of my content, so if that sounds like fun to you and you want to have fun with her, and I'm in there too, so we can all interact, I would highly recommend, though, that you check out her Facebook group. It's called Hooked on Jungle Gyms. Thank you for the love, Shelly. I really appreciate it. It was really nice to finally meet you in person. Now, how about all of you out there? Are you all doing okay? Great. I love to hear it. A few things I wanted to know before we start. This is a little mark time, right? You can actually catch me co-hosting on KISS 107 FM here in Cincinnati the week of December 20th. I was graciously offered the opportunity to come on John's show. Now, if you don't know John, he's a legend here in the radio scene, and I am beyond honored to even be asked. I joke at first when he offered me. I was like, are you sure about this? But seriously, I'm so happy to be a part of it. Now, if you're not local, or maybe you're just one of those people who hates their car radio, you can also listen to it through the internationally available iHeartRadio app. So make sure you download it right now so that you can listen. We're going to be telling fun stories. We're going to be talking about my work here at Jungle Gyms with creating the Jungle Gyms podcast, as well as my work as an actor, and I'm sure some other fun stuff. And you know what? It's going to be awesome. So please, in the meantime, give John a listen. He's on weekdays anyway. And this is just a precursor, a little warm-up. Preheat the oven if we're going to keep it into food-related puns and wordplay, huh? Oh, and if you're in Cincinnati and you want to catch a movie this week, I got involved with the Woodward Theater in downtown Cincinnati, and I am co-sponsoring a screening this Thursday, December 16th, of the excellent 1982 film, The Thing, directed by John Carpenter. And after I said all that, I realized, wow, that's a lot of numbers, but December 16th. Right? And this is fun, though. My co-sponsor on the event is known for their fancy A5 grade Wagyu beef. And guess what? They're going to be serving up some tasty eats to sample during the movie. It's going to be great. I mean, it really could not be great. The movie features Kurt Russell at his finest. Okay, time for the real business. Let's go. It's obviously the holiday season, and while I didn't want to dive in too obnoxiously on some of the usual trappings, I did think that it was painfully obvious that, you know what, here at the Jungle, we really don't do holidays the same way as other stores do. So I did what any good podcast host would do, and I hit up our international management team here, and I was like, hey everyone, what is so special about what we get here at Jungle Gyms this time of year. I figured, I'd talked in passing over the last month or so on the show about how we built a huge gingerbread house made exclusively out of imported goodies, and I was like, oh, this would make a ton of sense. So anyway, my pal Jim hits me back up and is like, I got an idea. So you're going to be meeting Jim officially, hear from him today, and guess what? I think I had so much fun this week with him. I'm going to bring him back next week, too, for another little segment. So you can consider that a teaser. Well, all right, everyone. So I brought Jim in here today. Jim Beckett. He's one of the, I call him the king of international. But it's the holiday season, and I won't sing the rest of that song. But what I thought would be fun was to talk about some of our international treats we get in here. So you brought a box of all kinds of fun, interesting stuff today.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I just made a quick walkthrough. I wanted to start by saying that we are selling through this stuff fast.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this and you're interested, you need to get in here because we are probably 50% through the holiday stock already.
That's amazing.
1st of December. But the one point that I brought up to Mark a little bit ago was the fact that the one thing that makes us stand out from any of the competitors out there is we tend to buy the entire line on some of this stuff. So if you go to Target, you can find a couple great Lindt items, but if you come to Jungle Gyms, you can find everything Lindt makes.
Yeah.
Every single holiday item they have is in here, and that goes right across the board on all these lines. So you truly, I can't say, hey, here's a distinct item that maybe nobody else has, because some chain or some store might.
Right.
But I can tell you that on all of these lines, we just buy right across the board, and we get into them deep. So.
Oh yeah. Well, you mentioned Milka before, and so that's quickly, since I've been working here, they've quickly taken over as my favorite big brand, quote unquote.
Right.
I don't know how large of a brand they are, but as far as a wide variety of chocolates, I've been eating the hell out of their lineup because you carry so many different things. I don't think I've had the same bar twice.
Well, part of what we do with the Milka line is we're buying it from multiple countries and multiple distributors. So you're not going to just get Milka Polish in here. You're going to get Milka from, I call this Eastern Europe style.
Right.
And so there's multiple vendors. And I can tell you that the parent company is trying to keep a handle on this and restrict where it goes and who gets it and who gets what, and we help them fail because we order anything and everything we can get from them, and they're trying real hard to keep it under control so they know who gets what, but we buy right across those lines. It's what I call gray area buying, where
I love it.
We find someone that'll sell us, and we buy it, and then they go behind us and shut it down if they can.
Wow, that's part of the Jungle Gym's magic.
Oh, it is part of the magic, and we've done that for years. And so,
before we go into this though, but what's the point of them wanting to restrict that? Wouldn't they just, isn't a sale at the end of the day?
I think you see that all through the industries, even like the soda pop companies, they restrict by state on some of the stuff. Wow. Because they have manufacturers and bottlers and vendors they have the rights to it in certain states and things like that. Okay. So they're really trying to keep control of that. And I guess a prime example I had McDonald's Big Mac sauce a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And McDonald's was trying to test market it, and I got a hold of it, and I was selling tons of it. Well, that just destroyed their test market. And they got so pissed that they just took it off the market. It's not even out there anymore.
Wow. Because that was a Canadian product,
it was
right?
From Canada. I was importing it from Canada, probably totally illegally. And, we were selling everything we could bring in here. Yeah. And that's true on a lot of this stuff. We'll go out and find it from a distributor that is maybe out of Denmark or something like that. And we'll buy it, and a lot of times after we buy it, they catch it and shut it down and don't let them sell it anymore. So we do get some unique sales, and if you look through just a little bit on the table here,
yeah,
we're pulling in items from multiple countries in their version of holiday items from Denmark and France and Great Britain and Eastern European and strong German. The liqueur chocolates, which I wanted to mention, what I like to say is, and you'll see it in our ads, we have the largest selection of liqueur chocolates in the world. There's nobody. I buy everything I can buy, and the orders this year were like $50,000 or so, and I'm well over halfway through them.
No kidding.
And so you'll see them from around the world here. We use a liquor jobber to help pull all this together every year.
Oh,
and,
cool.
And so he buys from multiple distributors and vendors and direct, puts them all together for us, and then ships us a large order for the holidays.
Well, in this one here you handed me, it's Chateau Carré, I guess Carré chocolate. This sounds really interesting. I'm not used to seeing. It's always. I feel like every time I've ever seen these. Well, realistically, prior to my time at Jungle Gyms, I feel like every time I see it, it's always the same one where it's like hard liquors in there.
Yeah.
And this sounds interesting because it's like all kinds of different wines. I almost think that would pair better with the chocolate.
Yeah, a lot of wine chocolates, and that probably was one of the hottest items this year. My beer and wine guy came up and said, next year get pallets on this stuff because we can't even keep it on the shelf.
That's crazy. I'm incredibly excited to try it, actually. Yeah. So I've seen the display, and every time I walk through, I'm just in absolute awe of the quantity. And
we're very restricted on how we can proceed to get this stuff because every once in a while, which is almost every year, the Liquor Control Board will come in here and ask for proof of where the stuff came from. They're very careful with that, and it has to come from a sanctioned distributor that has paid all the taxes.
Oh, okay.
Lo and behold, it all comes down to money.
Right.
If we didn't pay the liquor taxes on this, they did. If the distributor didn't buy their license correctly, they'll come in and shut it down.
Wow, that's crazy. And it's like, hey, it's your fault. And I'm like, how?
There's been years where I've had to pull the stuff off the shelf and we ate it all. But anyway,
wow.
We physically ate it though, so it
didn't
go to
so
waste.
Not a
It didn't go to
waste.
waste. We all ate it. We ate it.
Well, add me to that email list when that kind of thing happens. I know a good place for it. That was fun. I see. Obviously, so in the Milka Ball, what was it? Is that just like a
sorted chocolates? And
I can't say enough good things about their stuff.
You'll say the Milka, and they've got. I can't even keep track of the amount of flavors and all they have.
Insane.
But a lot of these are gifty ideas, and we're selling tons of gift ideas. Although my German buyer tells me that this has been probably the best year for Stollen that he can remember.
Okay.
Don't know why. But he's reordered it repeatedly now, anything and everything. And that's the beauty of what we have. And that's the reason Jungle Gyms is in stock on so much stuff, is if one brand sells out, we just move to another brand or another distributor or another vendor, and we just keep moving on, and it keeps the shelves full. But he said this is a banner year for Stollen. Probably one of the most asked for things I had in the store this year was the Christmas cake from Great Britain, and we've got a couple left. And
oh, cool! It's like a fruit cake.
It's a fruit cake with an icing topping, and
at first I thought it was a boxed ornament.
Yeah, it looks like an ornament. Doesn't it?
It really looks nice.
So our selection from Great Britain this year was huge. I'm probably every bit of 75% through it. So if you're looking for British holiday, you need to get in here quick because it's not going to last. I'm amazed how much showed up this year because there's still a lot of it that's sitting in port of LA, and at this point I'm going to have to turn those down because it's going to be too late. Yeah, well, they're going to get here the week before Christmas. That affected our cool candy cane lines.
Oh, cool. So, shiitake mushroom candy canes.
Yes, if you don't want just plain old yucky peppermint candy canes, I've got multiple flavors like the mushroom candy cane.
Oh, have you tried them?
I have tried several of them. They're really yucky, honestly. It's almost like a gag gift, but I know I have kale candy canes down there. I think there's still some ketchup candy canes.
Oh, ketchup. No, that's the flavor. That's the red candy cane I wanted.
So, if you want a little different take on the candy canes. I think we were talking earlier about the gingerbread house that we put in every year. Schulte actually provided all the labor and goods for that this year. And we had it filled, stacked all around the gingerbread house, and it's almost all gone again. But so we carry all of the different German holiday stuff from Bolson and Schulte and you name it. We've still got some out there. But again, don't wait long or it'll all be gone.
The rep had joked with me when he was putting up the gingerbread house. He said the same thing. And this was beginning of November?
Yeah, they actually saved us extra stuff on the side because they knew they were going to run into shortages and shipping problems.
That's awesome.
We talked about carrying everything somebody makes. I carry everything Walker's makes. I think Walker's is a phenomenal product, probably the best cookie that's out there for the holidays. And we've got a lot of the tins, which are really cool and really solid.
This one's adorable. Yeah, little white Yorkie dog and a fun hat.
So kind of an overall here is we may not have totally distinct items, but we've got almost everything these guys make. So if you want something from Walker's, you're going to have like 50 different choices.
Oh, yeah.
On what to walk out of here with.
Well, and I think that comes back to the Jungle Gyms magic, right? Where it's like, Yeah, sure. I might find. I keep going back to Milka because I'm like a disgusting monster. But it's that thing where I'll go in there and be like, okay, well, yeah, sure. Maybe I've seen one of these bars somewhere else in my life, but it's always like the same one. It's always like the Oreo collab they did, and that's the one I'll find. But then here it's like, oh, did you want to try 35 other versions that they offer? And the answer's been, of course. I'm like 33 in so far. Do you have a personal favorite in the lineup, or is there anything you go for this time of year from out of the country?
Oh my gosh, I like so much of it. I'm a little old fashioned. I love the gingerbread cookies. That's kind of an old fashioned thing, but
yeah,
probably my favorite would be the gingerbread hearts.
Oh, cool! Like the ones here.
Yeah,
beautiful. Okay,
I let my own personal preferences get in the way when I pick through some of this, but
isn't that all this is? It's like we all just try to rise through the ranks, and we're like, whatever I think is cool is now going to be what is cool.
Oh, I should mention one of the hot topics last year that I got in at the end, and I have now is I do have the Cocoa Bombs back in stock.
Oh, for the hot chocolate thing,
right?
Okay.
Right, and I've got those in multiple flavors, and those have been hard to get the last couple of years. So I know I just got the holiday peppermint ones in, and I think there's caramel and chocolate and dark chocolate out there. So those are coming up in an ad here probably next week.
Oh, amazing! Sounds great. Yeah, probably. I would assume probably around the time this airs.
Yeah, since
we're always a little bit ahead here. That's fun. Oh man, Jim, I really appreciate it. Sure. I'm so curious about the stolen. It's funny you mentioned the stolen. I have, I usually take at least one or two strolls through the store to see if I can't find a customer that wants to talk to me in here.
Right.
And I would say, though, every time I'm over in the international holiday section, someone has repeatedly told me to try these. And I really didn't know what it was. I'm just like, is it bread? And so it's funny to hear how popular it is this year, because I'm like, I guess I'm missing out at this point by having not tried it.
I like to think that if as you cross cultures, you're going to find similar commodities in every culture. This is kind of like a fruit bread.
Okay.
And you're going to see that in the Hispanic culture. You're going to see it in the Italian, very strong.
Right.
The panettones. So
yeah, sure.
So you're gonna see basically a fruit bread in every culture, and you're going to see that right across the board on a lot of this stuff. So you have to look at it twice to realize what you're looking at. But
right.
A lot of the stuff, I always talk about dumplings. Every culture's got dumplings.
Sure.
Whether it's the Japanese or the Chinese or the Russian, the pierogies, they're all different kinds of dumplings.
It's kind of funny how we all kind of figured out the same things to a certain extent. We're like, it's like a little bit, the stuffing changes,
Yeah, and a lot of effects from a lot of the countries that were helping developing countries, maybe, or conquering, if you want to be real. So a lot of effect from different countries because of the countries that colonized them, basically.
Yeah.
So those foods cross over, but well, super.
Yeah, now people can come in here and try all the crossovers. So,
which is something you won't find anywhere else. We might not have the absolute best variety in Chinese food. We will after this remodel, but nobody's got as many items from all over the world as we do. So,
I love that. Well, Jim, I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming down and spending some time with me today.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to mushroom candy canes at all, but at the same time,
that's the one I was going to leave you, but okay. Whatever.
I'm a ketchup cane guy.
All right, Mark, thank you.
Thank you. I know what you're all saying. Whoa, right? Yeah, there's like so many options, and it is important to note that we do still have a decent amount of this stuff left in the store as of the day of the show's release. But again, and I know Jim tried to stress this in the interview, it will not last long. So if you want to have a better chocolate Santa this year, just come in right now, okay? Right now, while I'm saying this. If you do come in, come say hi to me. Maybe you can come be on the show. I haven't gotten to do a really fun What Brings You In a little while. People are kind of very laser focused on their shopping and less time for podcasting, it seems. But come on by. It'd be great, and you'll love what you get. I realized while I was cutting the show together that I was going to potentially miss out on a great opportunity here. Since this was sort of my holiday episode, for lack of a better descriptor, I realized I had an opportunity and I needed to strike while the proverbial iron was hot. So I reached out to show favorite Christy from the bakery. And I told Christy, of all these holiday treats, one thing I've never tried, because it's kind of a meme, and for those of you who are older than me, a meme is kind of like a joke, is the fruitcake. Never tried a fruitcake. And I posted about this last year on Facebook, and my friend Candace reached out to me. It was like, well, this isn't really a fruitcake, but this is kind of a fruitcake thing that my family makes, and she brought me one, and it was delicious. But realistically, it was not a fruitcake, right? It was more like delicious cookie dough with fruits in it, which was amazing. And thank you, Candace, if you're listening. But I reached out to Christy. I was like, we got to find out more about this. So Christy says, hey, my mom's been really heavily involved with the bakery for a long time. Why don't I bring her in with me, and we'll tell you all about fruitcake. So I thought it would be fun to insert that into the middle of this episode. Look, you're getting a little insight to my process and how this all works. So let me welcome Christy and Carolyn. Carolyn, this is your first time. Christy, thank you for bringing your mom in. This is fun.
This is great.
It's a family affair. Sly Stone wrote about
this.
Yes,
this whole building's a family.
I love that. I feel that way too. I've really had that familial experience, even the short time I've been. I mean, it's been almost 4 months now, which is
already.
Oh, I beat you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've been over 22 years.
I beat you both.
Oh,
Yeah.
She's always trying to one up
22
us.
and a half for her.
Oh, no, a little bit more.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Well, I was working on some holiday content, so I reached out to Christy, and I was like, hey, Christy, you know everything.
Yeah.
But
Sounds so bad.
wanted to. Well, we kind of approached this a few months ago because I told you I'd never tried a fruitcake before. So you let me try one, and it blew my mind.
And that one wasn't even up to our regular standards.
See, and that's why I'm so excited. So I was hoping you ladies today could tell the world a little bit about fruitcake, because for me, it's that, it's been the butt of the joke for many, many holidays. I'm so curious about that. I mean, can you all tell me about it?
Well, let me first explain my mom.
Yes.
Okay, her name is Carolyn Russo, and she has been here in the bakery for, as she just said, 22 and a half years. And she started part-time. She was an oncology cancer nurse. Wow. And then as she was retiring out and slowing down that end, she picked up in here, and she started in demoing. And before COVID, in the store, we would have samples all around. So she ended up coming to the bakery and being our demo lady. And she has quite a following. Because of the COVID situation, we're not doing demos anymore.
Right.
But she still has families. On her birthday, they came and brought her balloons and flowers. It was amazing. It was so fun.
One even brought me the material to make an apron.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's incredible.
It is. So if you think I know a lot, my mom does too.
It runs in the family.
It does. And so since she was...
Thank you.
Yeah. But since she was demoing and you interact a lot with people, she researched her stuff. So... Mom, that's how I'm going to refer to her in this interview, this session, whatever. Mom, I'm trying to remember all that you told me about the history with the fruitcake.
Well, there is a long history. Fruitcake has been traced back to the originality of Roman times. Wow. Now you're talking centuries. They have found evidence of it. And the Egyptians followed suit. They have found evidence in the tombs. And they checked out, they used nuts, raisins, and some kind of a seed. I forget what the seed was. That was to help the deceased to transfer into his next life with food to eat. And through the centuries, every country started and nationality started. Fruitcake can go by many names. It can go by cake. It can go by fruitcake. Some of them are Christmas cake. This one I'd never seen before, Christmas pudding, and a Depression cake.
Okay.
During the Depression, when eggs and everything was so not available, they made the cake just using no milk, sugar, butter, eggs. They used only oil, salt, water, vanilla, flour, sugar, and baking soda. And that was their cake because they couldn't afford to buy the other stuff. But they do it, and they would ice it and decorate it. You'll find many. If you Google fruitcake, you could go on for hours what has been done through the centuries with it.
Amazing. It sounds like one of those universal products that shows up in every culture now.
Yes, that's
I was
much.
talking with International. Well, so this will be all part of the same episode. So they brought in some Stollen.
Yes.
I think that's how you
Yeah,
properly put it.
and we also have Stolen in the bakery along with our fruitcake. Now, our Stolen we bring in by somebody,
Okay.
but we make a lot of fruitcake at this time of the year.
When you say a lot, can you put that in perspective? The sigh, I think, puts it
my
in
gosh.
perspective realistically.
wasn't it over 1,000 loaves last year?
Oh, easy.
Yeah,
Easy.
I know it was over 1,000
All right.
loaves last year.
Folks, help me out with the math. We're baking it 3 times a week
Okay.
at about 72 loaves a batch. So,
And it is not easy to make.
It is
You need
not
muscles
easy.
with this.
Yeah.
All right,
It's
so we're
very
talking
heavy.
216 loaves at least a week.
at least.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
you're making that for what, 2 months though?
Yeah, we started in the beginning of November.
Yeah, so you're pushing 2,000 loaves
Easy.
easily. Yeah, if not
Easy.
more, probably.
Yeah.
Because every time I go to look for it, I bought one.
Oh, a regular one?
Yes, I did. About a week or two after you let me try it, I was like, I told my mom. I brought my mom in. So it was that same day.
Okay.
And I was like, you got to try this thing because I know we've heard our entire lives that this is this, quote, joke product for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
Well, back to my mom with the
Yeah.
history. Mom,
Yeah.
why did it become such a joke thing?
Well, it's been nicknamed a door stopper. It's been named as a weapon to knock your husband in the head with. It's had multiple purposes through the years. And one reason why ours is so superior to others, it is baked fresh. It has not been in storage. It hasn't been in a freezer. It is baked fresh from scratch. Everything is done here. Now, needless to say, we don't chop up the candied fruit
Right.
that we purchase because we'd have to hire a whole team to do that.
Yeah. But wasn't it because Johnny Carson
Oh,
did not like
I
yeah.
forgot about Johnny Carson. He brought up the fruitcake thing, and that jumped sales that year.
Really?
Just by Johnny Carson saying it. And he was calling it by its nickname, a door stopper and everything.
Yeah. I mean, he really enforced into the American culture. It is amazing how much of an influence he really has. Still standing to this day. And fruitcake is one of them. Everybody creates it as a joke. And it never fails to amaze me. I have people that we hired, and I'm like, oh, you got to try your fruitcake. Oh, I don't like fruitcake. Have you had it? No.
Yeah.
No, but then how do you know?
Exactly.
I have converted many a husband to fruitcake.
Yes, yes.
And what is outstanding to watch, children like it. But of course, there's a lot of sugar in it with that
Right.
fruit. But they'll be there and they want to get it. And mom says, oh, he doesn't like it. He won't eat it. Well, like kids do, they make liars out of parents.
Yeah. Now, this cake is very, very rich. And our cake, essentially, it's a whole lot of fruit held together with some stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. And
But it is minus one important thing.
Yes.
I think it is another distinct thing.
And it's why we
do
like
not
ours.
have citron in ours.
Yeah.
Oh.
And when I researched other ones, their ingredients, they had citron. Citron is a fruit of its own. It's the citrus family. But there's many different citrons, so what they're using, I don't know. But to me, that really changes the flavor of that cake.
Yeah.
Because we don't have it in there.
Would
right.
it make it more bitter?
Yes.
Yes,
It does make it more bitter
because there is one that it's, when I read about it, it sounds like it turns your toenails upside down. It's so, it's so sour.
Yeah. So ours, we have pineapple, we have cherries. I mean, it's just, we have golden raisins, we have regular raisins, and we have molasses in it, we have ginger. We make everything, from it.
Yeah.
And
there's definitely allergy things in it. So,
Heads up
but
on that.
people around here are pretty smart on their allergies.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's been nice to see too. That I feel
Right.
like for the most part, it's just like, hey, this has nuts in it. Beware, that's it.
Exactly, because ours has pecans in it.
Okay.
Yeah, and Mom, wasn't it Queen Elizabeth? No,
Oh,
Queen Victoria.
Princess Diana. Well, yes, Queen Victoria always had fruitcake all year round. She'd have it
Really?
at tea time, at high tea. But Kate Middleton and Princess Diana both served wedding cake at their weddings.
The fruitcake for their wedding.
Really?
Yeah.
I found that interesting.
yeah.
That's very interesting. See, that's always what's fun about little,
I
cultural
love
things
that
like
kind of stuff.
Me too. Yeah.
And honestly, I knew that, but her just saying it went click in my head. Oh yeah, I remember that.
Well, I didn't.
Well, for one, fruitcake can hold for a long time. As we mentioned, we've been making it since November, and we have definite people who come in and want it at the beginning. And those kind of people might douse it with some rum or something like that. Yeah. And they wrap it in cheesecloth, and then they'll give it as a gift or something.
Interesting.
And so it is so moist and so dense. And Queen Victoria was like, this cake is so rich, it should only be eaten, sparingly.
At one time, when the United States started shipping sugar, or the sugar over, our sugar wasn't as good as England's was. And
Interesting.
I found that unusual, but the ground, the crop, and everything else. But I lost my train of thought on that. Oh, the age. They have it documented. They have found one edible, 106 years old.
Oh my gosh.
It does not really need to be refrigerated, believe it or not, as long as it's wrapped tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the alcohol, mainly if you're using the alcohol.
Right. It works as a preservative, I guess.
Yes.
That's incredible.
So, and
Yeah,
we wrap
those Egyptians
ours,
knew what they were doing.
yeah, we wrap ours in such a way that it makes it look like it could be a present right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's again, like when you first showed it to me, I was like, oh, that's visually not what I anticipated seeing, right? Again, you've seen those overly preservative heavy, again, not that we're hand drying fruit or anything here, but you can tell the quality of the fruit that you're putting in it, even from just a visual standpoint, is a cut above what I'm used to seeing.
Right.
There's none of that neon colored cherry or anything like that in there. And it looks legitimately delicious. It tasted awesome. And it's like this dense, rich cake. I was so blown away by it because I think a fruit bread is really, I'm hoping that in the long term, this little interview will rebrand fruitcakes.
Fruitcake will top Johnny Carson.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I don't want to say I could replace him, but it's a new world. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's the kind of influence I'd have. So
Right.
Well, you kept bringing up the richness of it. The 10th century, that was when they stopped using imported sugar into Europe. They banned the other sugars because it was thought to be too rich and tasty for the common people.
Wow. So they just weren't prepared for it, I guess.
No difference in sugars.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Though.
It makes it different. And, of course, measurements and what they put in it. There's so
Yeah.
many ways. There's bazoo ways you can make fruit cake.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Well, see, that's next year. Maybe we'll try a few different versions of it.
Oh no, please no. No.
I'm really just hoping to get a slice of that 106-year-old cake. I would try a bite.
I wonder where it is now. Who has it?
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
question.
I give you bet it's probably in one of the Egyptian museums.
That makes sense. Well, I'll call my relatives and see if I've got any good connections
There
there.
you go.
So.
Yeah, he's got people everywhere. He knows a guy who knows a guy.
That's
who,
right.
knows a
I
guy.
have access
really?
to a sarcophagus or two.
Yeah, but in the bakery, we'll probably stop making it and maybe the second week of January until it runs out,
Sure.
Kind of thing. So you'll be able to find it in there. As long as we can keep making it, there we'll go. It takes, we have to plan for the bake because it takes over 2 hours to bake alone.
Oh, wow.
So it really consumes our ovens. And I can't devote that much time.
Of course,
so
long term. How many can you get in at a time?
we can do 2 batches at a time.
Okay.
That's 2 racks. That's what our ovens can hold.
And when you say 2 racks, how many is in a rack? Ballpark.
Well, on each rack is going to be the 70.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it is a
so
very
I'm
large
baking like
quantity. Wow.
145 or whatever.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Okay.
at a time. But we have a carousel convection oven rack. It's kind of like if you ever see me opening, it's like opening a bank vault.
Right.
And I walk in and I can put the racks in there, and there's two.
Needless
in
to say,
there.
I got a little upset when I saw her walk into that big oven the first time I saw her. I said, "Don't slam that door."
Yeah. And by the way, Mark, because you're going to be in this amazing toy store, it's going to get chilly. Come see me in the bakery.
I will gladly. And I encourage all of you listening, too, to come do the same. If you are sitting there thinking, I hate fruitcake, like you said, I'm willing to bet you haven't tried it. And you definitely haven't tried anything like this. I was an instant fan. So, yeah. And honestly, if they come quick enough, I'll let them try some of mine. I'm serious, too. So just don't bring your nut and fruit allergies here. Sound good? Well, thank you so much for your time today, ladies. I really appreciate it.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for the history lesson. That was incredible, Carolyn. Awesome.
Well, I enjoyed history. That was my top subject in school.
Yeah.
Plus mandatory Latin.
Okay, that's enough about fruitcake, right? But maybe you heard all that and you said, you know, Mark, it sounds like there's a little too much gingerbread in your stocking this year. And I'll probably respond to that with, wow, is that an expression I'm unaware of? And you'll just say, no, I just don't love gingerbread the way you do. And I'm like, okay, well, that sounds like you're lost. I'm not really sure where you're going with this. But maybe you just want to support a local treat purveyor who just so happens to have gotten a pretty nice little boost by being sold here in the jungle. Maybe you too want to enjoy some of their incredible cake truffles, and they are incredible. You will literally hear me pretend to not eat them on the show in a second. And because of your wants and desires, I thought I'd invite local chocolate and treat makers in from Ruby's Chocolates. It's a sweet personal story of overcoming adversity, and as you may now recognize as a fan of the show, Jungle Gyms, we're kind of on the front lines here, right? Like, we're always looking for these kinds of rising stars. I feel confident in being able to say this, but we love being a, for lack of a better term, pilot program for so many brands. And get used to hearing about that, because I think that's incredibly interesting. And I'll be inviting many more people onto the show in the coming weeks to talk about how we helped them get to where they are and how so many of these people are going on to do incredible, very interesting things. Anyway, I had Ruby's in a little while back to do this interview, but I thought now was a perfect time to talk about it. It's sweet season, right? So sit back, pop in a cake truffle, and check out Ruby's Chocolates. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We're excited to be here.
You're excited. I can't finish that sentence or I'll get in trouble. I am incredibly excited. First off, you all did one of my favorite things when I have a guest come in, which is bring me delicious stuff to eat. So thank you for showing up.
You're welcome. We hope you enjoy it too.
Oh, I am. I'm already, if you can't tell from my physique, I'm currently a fan of Ruby's Chocolates. I love your store, and I love that now it's even more accessible to me being here in the jungle itself. So that's awesome.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about the inception of Ruby's. Was this your baby from the jump, Melinda?
Yeah, it was. I started in my house like 12 years ago. So, and then I was in there about 6 months, and I decided, well, it's getting way too big for the house.
Yeah.
So that's actually when I came to Jungle Gyms, and I dropped off some samples, and I actually did it several times before someone called me back, but I kept on coming because I believed in what I was doing.
Yeah.
And when we first started, we just had a little bitty section. And I kept on asking, when can I get behind the glass? When can I get behind the glass? It took me 5 years to get behind the glass. But then it exploded with the truffle cakes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're so delicious, too. Have you always been into baking and chocolate making?
I love sweets. I mean, it's like I only have like one cheat day a week, but it is like that's what I eat the whole entire day.
Oh,
that's what we come up with is like our favorite things, like favorite flavors. And it's everything that we make, we basically eat. I mean, we're all sweet
tough.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, I literally don't think I think that's a big reason that this is like my first time working in food, where at this point I'm just like, I've given up. Every day is a cheat day here at the jungle for me. So no, this is amazing. And I've got in my hand right now a Halloween themed. This is one of the joysticks, right?
Yes.
yeah.
And it will bring all of you joy if you try one. I'm at that point where I'm like, do I crunch into the microphone or not? What were you doing prior to making chocolate?
I did design work, interior design, and fashion merchandising. I worked for Federated and
Oh, cool. My father was in the real estate end there at Federated for a long. That's
Yeah.
what brought us to Cincinnati.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
These are incredible. So what am I tasting in here? Is there caramel in between the pretzel layer?
Yes, every joystick that we do, besides the Buckeye joystick, we wrap it in caramel first, and then we dip it in either milk, dark, or white chocolate, and then we put whatever kind of toppings people want on it.
Well, I love that you're doing all these seasonal ones too.
Yeah. It's getting really popular, especially in, Cena actually can talk about his Oakley store, that people can just walk in, because we do everything in the Fairfield location, which
Yep.
is probably like 3 miles away from here.
Oh, okay.
But our Oakley store has really been, well, what I should say is our business has really picked up in Eastgate because of our Oakley store. I mean, it has probably, what is
Yeah,
the
I would say
percentage?
it's gone up about 200% since we've opened the Oakley location, if not more.
That's amazing. And congratulations.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. It's been a significant impact on our business, and I don't know if it's just the credibility of people. Kind of like McDonald's. You see it over and over again. You see the big M, the arch. You're gonna eventually, you see the R over and over. You're like, okay, this place is legit. It's building
Right.
some credibility, and I think it's done that in that demographic of Cincinnati at least. It's only going to continue to get better too, and that's why you see the big R on the bag. And
Right.
it's going to be a staple of ours, and hopefully a household name in Cincinnati. The trajectory that we're going in right now.
That's what we want to build, is that company logo, that big red R, because I started the business actually after, and I named it Ruby's because of my grandmother. And she was like the backbone of who I am.
Sure.
And I always, as a kid, you always look up to like superheroes, and it was my grandmother. I looked at her, I was like, I want to be her. When I get
Right.
older, it's because she ran her own business, and the reason why I have that big red R is I was sitting behind her, and that's when they wrote they autographed every check, they
Right.
wrote their signature, and she signed with a big R, and I was like, Mama, I said, what? Why the big R? She looked at me and she was dead serious, because I'm a very important person. And I was probably 7 years old, but I remember that. I was like, okay.
Oh, definitely leaves an impact.
Yeah, so the R is what we want to be noted for. So when Cena came on board, he actually even designed our new logo. He did everything, and he got that in play. And like the Oakley store, he basically did all that, the signage. I designed stuff, but he did all the legwork. He's been there. That's actually his store. I don't even go down there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the whole idea behind it, not to get away from the R, but add in the impact of putting handmade. It shows the labor behind it, and then you put in Cincinnati. And I think I've told this before, is someone's like, well, you don't technically make it in Cincinnati, and I'm like, well, the San Francisco 49ers don't play in San Francisco either. So, but it is, on the whole scheme of
Got
things.
'em.
That's great.
I've told you before, is, someone in Colorado or California, they're not going to know Fairfield, Ohio.
Right.
Do I want to put Fairfield on the map? Absolutely. But I think putting that Cincinnati has made a huge impact, especially here in Jungle Gyms. I mean, or any of our wholesale locations, just due to the fact that it says Cincinnati on it. And then during the pandemic, you've seen a lot of these local businesses have a huge impact in the communities, and people have been supporting better than ever.
I love hearing that, and I kind of love that there's been a big explosion in just locally curated food in general, and that everybody really wants to support something locally made, right?
Yeah.
Sure, in the big corporate end of things, there are people still behind that, but it's,
Right.
I don't know, it's a lot better to me that I can literally speak with you about it,
Yeah.
be like, what really went in this? You know what I mean?
Right.
And I can hear it directly from you.
Yeah,
Come
and
to
we
your
do,
store.
and we do a lot of custom things where people come to us. Well, if they want a certain flavor, say they want bubble gum in their way,
Right.
we do cakes now as well. So we do I try not to turn any business down.
Sure.
I was taught a long time
love it.
ago, when I started at Federated, I had a boss. Actually, I started at Elder Bierman, and I
Oh,
had
okay.
a boss, and he told me, he said, I don't care what I ask you. He said, you say you can do it, and then when I walk away, you can go in the corner and cry and think about how you're going to do it, but get it done. Never say never, and just try. I try my hardest and to do the best I can. And every cake, whatever I do, I act like I'm doing it for myself.
Brilliant.
And it's a gift most of the stuff is gifts that people give to people. So we do the best that we can. I mean, I want it to look beautiful.
Right. I mean, it's very clear to me that this is a passionate thing for you and that you're really pouring yourself and your love into the product.
Yeah.
You can taste it.
Yeah.
I know that
I
sounds
think
silly.
So. No, I think so. We've had several people.
So at the beginning of when she started out of the house, she used to always lead with the ingredients, and the first thing would be made with love. But you could actually taste the love in her and the passion that she puts into these chocolates, and I think it goes a long way with how the success and how far she's gone in the 12 years that she's been in business.
Yeah, because I started out with $25, and
During a recession.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody was like,
I love that.
I went to the bank, gave the lady, she's like, it was $25. I said, I want to open up a business account. She's like, honey, this is the worst time to be opening up a business. I said, well, I want to open this business up.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. And it's been hard. It's been an uphill battle. I think anything worthwhile, it's going to be an uphill battle. But once you get to the top,
Smooth
when we're not there yet.
Right.
And we might never be in my lifetime, but I know with my boys, both my boys, have taken control. My youngest son, he actually can mimic whatever I do.
Really?
Rasina's more the business. We give him,
he's talented.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes he does things better than she even does. and
okay, let's not go that far. we can't get that twisted.
he's a very artistic
Yes, he
person
is.
though, and he does a phenomenal job and helps. He's her right hand man as far as the aspect of creating, chocolatier and creating everything.
Yeah.
I'm so fascinated with that world in general, just about, I've talked a bunch on the show about how food is, to me, and I think probably to more people, whether they recognize it or not, but it's truly an art form, right? You know what I mean? Like even coming up with these, they're cute, they're designed, right? You eat with your eyes first.
Yes.
And I'm sitting here, I've just been kind of like out of the corner of my eye, eyeballing the pumpkin truffle the whole time. I'm like, how weird would it be if I continue? And this is always my most favorite and least favorite part of the show is how do I sneak the bites in?
Yeah.
Take a bite.
Yeah, I'll go
brother.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go. You think pumpkin's a good one to go in next?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's the season, right?
Cheers.
How is it?
I know the audience can't hear me doing my eye roll of ecstasy in the background. That's so good. You get a really strong, like the pumpkin and the spice flavor. The cake is supremely moist. It's caramel on top too, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and like black walnuts.
Now she
like
said before,
caramelized.
she's made that one for a few years, and I've noticed that over the years, like she doesn't have we don't have recipes like, hey, this is how, she just knows. Well, over the years, she always, that's a seasonal one, so she'll alter it.
Yeah.
The next year, and it's like they continue to get better. Like this, this year, she added the walnut, but it's caramelized. She throws it in the skillet and gives it that extra little.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that extra little flavor that makes all the world of a difference. And
again, the idea that
awesome.
you came to this and you're like, hey, I have a tried and true product, but you know what? I have an idea. I'm going to execute that idea, and it's going to be great. I think a lot of it, I mean, just in a quick read of you, you obviously have a lot of positivity behind what you do, too.
I'm total about positivity.
I think, and again, I think it's another thing you can taste.
Yeah.
That's like dangerously delicious.
I know.
Oh, it's very decadent and delicious
Oh,
in every
man.
aspect.
It's addicting.
Yeah, and I'm like the most basic on the planet too. So I'm just like, once October 1st hits, I'm just like pumpkin everything. Let's go.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I'll probably
I had a pumpkin spice latte today.
exactly. I was like, I'm gonna make a pumpkin spice Coke Zero if I could. And it'll be pumpkin season pretty much right until I kind of make my December shift to chocolate mint.
Oh, yeah.
Which,
Yeah,
we
have that too.
Oh yeah, I'll see you in a month. Well, I was going to ask about this since we obviously have some seasonal theming here. Obviously, anything fun coming up for like Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up?
We're doing like fall things, like the pretzel sticks. We have like a butterscotch pecan toffee kind of pretzel rod, which is amazing. That actually Dorothy Lane picked up too, because that's another people that we supply for. Actually, I got into Jungle and Dorothy Lane at the same time
That's amazing.
because I just made my rounds, and I am not like a person that goes in to talk to people. I'm not like that. I'm passionate about. If you get me talking about my chocolate, I'm very passionate. I will talk all day.
Yeah.
But as far as going in and representing, here's what I have. I'm so shy, but I thought, I have to do this.
Yeah.
And it's all that I had. I went through a divorce, and honestly, I didn't have a vehicle. I had to borrow people's vehicle to get my product. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't say this part, but when she first got her building, she didn't even have the money to pay the rent or the security deposit. And when the landlord asked, how are you going to pay it? She said, when the time comes, I'll have your money. I guarantee I'm going to go get the business that I need to support myself and my family. And sure enough, the guy was like, I like you. This is exactly how I started my business. Good luck. And then he never looked back, and sure enough, she's never missed a payment.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I think you'll find that a lot of people, look, there's that, the drive and determination, which we've talked about, but there is that level of just confidence and recognizing your success. But you'll find that in so many of these cases. I mean, Jungle's a great example of it here, right? Where he's the same kind of way. He was a fruit stand. He was just like, yeah, I'm going to build an empire. And then
he did.
We're literally sitting in the studio.
Yeah.
He built in the grocery store,
He's amazing.
International market, excuse me.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I agree. I think his story is absolutely amazing, from selling tomatoes or peaches on the side of the road.
Bananas and everything. Just to like
huge market.
Right.
I mean, it's
he had
unreal.
a vision, and he's very positive. And I look up to him all the time, thinking, "Oh my gosh, I want to get larger, and but how do you do it?"
Yeah.
Because I'm like in the kitchen all the time. He's like the face of the company. I'm more like in the kitchen in the back, like hey
of
mom,
the operation.
I kind of going off of what you just said though about her positivity. I think something that she brings more than anything. Well, it ties into positivity, but she like manifests stuff. She's like, I'll make 500 of these.
And we'll sell
them. I'm like, Mom, we've never sold those before. She's like, oh, we'll sell them.
Yeah.
And it's,
you got to manifest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And people respond to that, you know, because, there's that thing. You mentioned this briefly earlier about how, about putting the name out there. And I kind of think in a weird way this ties in because, people are at first, if they, the first shop, right? They might not come in, right? Oh, I don't know. I've not heard of this. And then now, but once you've established that footprint, people are like, I've always gone there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think that you really can kind of will those things into existence, and people respond to it because I think people look at, and I'm going to lump myself in here because I'm right with you on that, but I think people look at us and go, oh, well, they obviously know what they're doing. So I don't want to miss out on this.
Right.
And
you have to have confidence.
Of course.
It's not cockiness. It's borderline, but because I'm not cocky at all. But I am confident that I have a great product, and it doesn't bother me like if someone tastes it. And I've had very few people say, "Oh, I don't like it."
Yeah, how could they?
Yeah, I mean, they might think it's too rich. Yeah, it's rich. It's
of
going
course,
to be
it's
rich.
supposed to be. Yeah.
My sister once told me, she's like, "You make something fattening even more fat," because my best thing to do is to add something is either let's do some caramel on it, or let's put some nuts on it, or let's put, I make it the way I want to eat it.
Yeah, which is delicious and perfect. Again.
The funny thing is, too, when she trains people, she says it to them exactly like that, and she expects them to be a robot and do it. She expects, perfection. And, I mean, it's very funny. That's what she demands out of her employees, but it's good. They all respect her. Yeah. But at the same time, like everything has to be made the way she wants it made, and that's why we succeed. That's why she is the way she is.
Yeah. I mean, everything has to look like I made it. Mm-hmm. I'll know that I did not make that. I know I did not make that, but no one else will know. So we have some really good employees. We've hired some like even younger people that you have to mold them, but they've been very good and very sweet. And I'm hard on. I said I'm going to be hard on you, but I'm going to be nice to you, and I don't expect you to do anything that I wouldn't do.
Right. Well, and I was going to guess. I was like, again, another common trait is that you hold yourself to those levels too.
Exactly.
And so it's that expectation that it's a funny thing. And this kind of keeps getting brought up on the show too, which is, it's funny. I didn't think it would come up as often, but I think there is sort of, and maybe it's a generational gap. Maybe it's just personality differences, but I definitely think at times you run into people, and I've run into this in the production world and my creative stuff, where I'm a very driven, talented individual, but I definitely know that if I do it, it gets done exactly the way it needs to get done. And maybe not everyone shares that passion. And they sometimes can look at you a little like, what's his deal? Yeah, but the thing is, I'm holding myself to impossibly high standards, and I want you to be a part of that too.
Yeah. And that's why we've gone through like several people. Some people just can't do it. Yeah. And I'll tell them, I hate being up front like that, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you a day and we're going to see what you can do.
Yeah. But there's nothing wrong with that.
So we throw so much stuff at them, but you can tell.
Most people that I come across appreciate how straightforward you are, though.
Of course.
About that.
Yeah.
It's
You never have to
authentic
second guess
and-
at what we're thinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very organic. It's there's no fakeness behind it,
No.
and it's just straightforward. And I think people do appreciate it. at the end
People
of the
are
day.
craving a genuine interaction. That's why podcasts got popular. I think that's kind of why the idea of everyone having their own YouTube channel became a big thing, because they were sort of tired of this manufacture. I made the joke at the beginning of doing the announcer voice, but it's so phony, right? You know what I mean? It's like that thing that you expect.
You do have a
someone
great
to
voice,
do.
though.
Thank you. I appreciate
You
that.
really do.
You do. You can just listen to it. Yeah.
Someone the other day sent me a message. They're like, I hope this isn't weird, but I find your voice incredibly pleasing to listen to.
It is.
I was like, I think that's great. Yeah. I mean, since I'm professionally doing it, I don't think it's weird at all. It depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
She's like, painting. I was like, painting what? Anyway. But, well, so you said you could talk all day about making chocolate. I really kind of want to hear a little bit about the chocolate making process. All I really know about the chocolate making process, I picked up in the Hershey factory tour. So nothing useful, actually.
Right.
So.
Well, we have to melt everything down, but what we're noted for are truffle cakes.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to make the batters, and what it basically is cakes with like different ganaches. So it depends on the flavor. We have so many different extracts that we use, but we use nuts, caramel. It just depends on the flavor.
Yeah.
But and then we have 3 different sizes. So we have people. It's a lot that goes into one truffle cake. So you make the batter, the cakes, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You have to roll those. We have like specific people rolling those, and then we usually let them set for a couple hours just to harden just a little bit, or put them in the refrigerator. And then you obviously have to melt the chocolate,
Right.
and then you're going to dip it in, say, the cookie dough. You're going to dip it in milk chocolate. Well, then you're going to have the cookie crumbs right there to just before it dries.
Sure.
Then you let it dry. Then you have to foot it in a dark chocolate. And then you're going to take another piece of cookie, dip it in dark chocolate, and put it on top, and more cookie crumbs. So that's just one.
That one
truffle
looks
cake.
so good that I'm not going to eat it in front of you.
Oh my god! that is, we haven't had that one for very long, and it's like doing so well. We were thinking about putting it in our top seller, because we have a top seller
Yeah.
box. That
You mentioned multiple sizes too. What size would these be considered?
those are the large.
Those are large. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
going to say I could
That's what we
maybe
sell
fit 2
here
in my hand. Yeah.
at Jungle.
That's what we sell
They're
at Jungle
huge.
Gyms.
Yeah.
It was, when we first got in here, from my understanding, they wanted something that was at that price point
Yeah.
of $3.99.
Look at you,
And
the business already dropping
I know.
prices.
well, that's why she made that size. Well, Dorothy Lane wanted, they wanted to sell them more in bulk, so they're selling them because, like I said, she said, those are the first 2 stores she was in. So they had like a smaller size. Well, then I hopped on board, and I'm like, you know what? For weddings, I noticed that like more of a bite size, you kind of just throw it right in your mouth.
Yeah.
And they're perfect.
Right.
So we started selling this thing called a top sellers box, and it's 12 bite-sized truffles of our 6 most popular flavors.
Brilliant.
And it is absolutely delicious. It's the #1 gift that we sell.
Yeah.
But that's why there is 3 different sizes, and she makes them all look delicious.
What flavors are in that lineup?
That's going to be birthday cake,
While I fan myself here listening.
cookies and cream, which is the most popular. Kind of Oreo,
Of course.
cookies and cream,
How could you
whatever,
say no?
whatever you want to call it.
Right.
It's- I mean,
Depends on who's requesting
name
the right.
Well, the
They're
name itself.
Hydrox.
Yeah, exactly. You get my point. Key lime, triple chocolate.
Oh yeah.
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Did I forget it? Is that all of them? Yeah.
Triple
chocolate
yeah.
too.
Another winner.
And they're
Key
all-
lime is one of my personal favorites too. When I
I
come in,
love
I'm
key
your,
lime.
and it's funny because I'm normally not like a huge white chocolate.
too.
But the thing is, every time I come in, I end up with more white chocolate ones than I expect, and my mom gives me a hard time. She's like, "You got
thought
white
you didn't
chocolate
like
ones?"
chocolate.
Because she's also a chocolate fan.
Yeah.
I have the same issue, Mark. I don't even like white chocolate. If you offer me like a straight up white chocolate disc, I'll be like, no, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Then like she looks over at me. I'm eating the truffle cakes, and I have like carrot cake and birthday cake and key lime, and they're all white chocolate based.
Sure.
I'm like, well, I guess it's
and you don't even like white cake, white ice. Like you don't like birthday cake. That's my favorite. Like
Oh,
I
yeah,
love
that sounds
that. Actually, I made it because my sister's like, "You love birthday cake. Why don't you do a birthday cake truffle cake?" I'm like, oh, "Okay." And it's like a top seller.
Oh, it's damn good. It's
And you don't even like birthday cake.
It's really good.
The texture is really great too, and I know that's like a weird thing to mention, but it's like really creamy and moist and kind of soft. I mean, because you're saying you fold in the ganache with the cake itself. Yeah, it is
you
decadent.
said the best word to describe it with moist. I know people don't like to use that word all the time to describe things, but
But they're wrong.
They're absolutely wrong. There's not a better word to describe it. And when people ask, oh well, what is a truffle cake? Because you don't usually hear that. You hear cake pops.
Sure.
The only difference is ours aren't on a stick, and they're a little bit more embellished with the decorations on them.
Yeah, they're more fun.
But that's why I tell people they're more moist, and then they don't fall apart. Sometimes you bite into like one of those cake pops, and it's just crumbles.
Well, it's just cake and icing.
Right.
Cake pop. That's what a cake pop
So
is.
then ours, I guess, I don't know the other ingredients that we throw in it, just allow them to be that moist, and it's.
Yeah, and we
I
do
actually
we
had
do
a jungle.
few things.
Well, I had a
to
Jungle
it.
Jim's employee tell me the other day. He was like describing how he's like, well, it's like cake and ice cream all in one, but there's no ice cream. And I was like,
It
oh,
tastes
I guess
good.
that's pretty good analogy.
Yeah, no, that's so good. And well, and I would assume that so many people probably have only had like mass-produced cake pop type
Right,
things.
right.
Which again, I don't want to be mean to the corporate people, but on a personal level, I want to be very mean to them because I don't like mass-produced treats. They
Yeah.
don't taste like anybody cared about me. Their quality control is not where it needs to
Right.
be. Right? I don't want to bite into a cake pop and it be like a dry pile of crumbs. That's awful.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like this rich. I mean, again, I know I was joking about it, but I'm really not joking about it. Like, there's going to be a little private time between me and the remainder of these treats.
Okay.
I'm like, well, the
can't
first
say-
and last visit. No, I'm so
I
kidding.
can't say you're the first person to tell me that either.
That's true. It is funny.
It's that thing where I'm like, I just hate to smile this much.
Well, you would actually appreciate this. When she first started, it used to be Ruby's Sweet Spot, and then we realized we might have to change that name due to the fact of what you just
Yeah,
said.
because people like me were probably going to giggle a little too much, but you never know.
Even when you Googled it, it was like, okay.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. You're like,
exactly.
oh,
We
okay.
better should change that.
Yeah, those are not the photos we were looking for.
Yeah, these are definitely not decadent chocolates.
But visit decadentchocolates.com. That's so funny. What's like the next big milestone or step for you? Where do you want to go next? I know we were joking about not being the top. What would you consider the top?
Well, we want to become like a Cincinnati name, and I know Cena probably doesn't want me to mention this, but I want to. It is Oakley store. I want to do like creamy whip. So we do like a blizzard mix with the truffle cake.
Say no more.
And
I will pay rent.
I just want to start out, like simple with the vanilla ice cream, but then I would love to have like a triple chocolate truffle cake with like extra fudge on top of it. And
we were gonna start it off like just where it's pretty simple, where you have like the base, vanilla, and then
Yeah.
you throw one of the truffle cakes in it, kind of,
or maybe two truffle cakes.
Right, and just blend it up together. That would be
Yep.
incredible. Yeah.
But we've been doing those smash balls. I don't know if you've seen those. You get a little hammer, you break it in, and then you bust it open. And
Oh,
it's
yeah,
So you
yeah,
got
yeah.
pretty
treats.
cool. There's treats inside. Some
That's
people
fun.
have given us gift cards or little gifts to give to their significant
And
other.
then you can like seal it in there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah, it's pretty cool. That along with the hot chocolate bombs,
Oh,
which
yeah.
So I have seen those. I hadn't seen the what would you call the other ones again?
they're called. I mean,
Smash balls.
Smash balls. I don't.
Oh, that's cool.
I call them a gimme Jimmy because it
Oh,
looks
I
like
love
a
it.
gym and it's a gimme.
Yeah, there we go. That works for me. No, I'm like sitting here going, oh, that's some good. We're getting near to gift buying season,
Right,
I would
right.
definitely recommend. That's right up my alley too. That sounds like so much
The
fun.
hot chocolate bombs were a huge success last year, and
yeah.
that was one of those items I told you that we've never made before, and then she just made 500 right away.
Yeah.
And we're like, we were joking at Thanksgiving dinner, like, she's like, how many do you think we'll sell this season? I was like,
50.
I said at least 1,000, and she was
said
like,
50.
she said
said
like,
50.
she said no, I think you said like 250 or something, or 500.
I said 50.
And I was like, there's no way. Well, we went way past what everybody assumed. I mean, we before we opened, there was a line outside our door.
He actually
40
videotaped it. It's like a Jordan
Well,
release.
it was like 45 minutes before we opened, and it was 34 degrees outside, and I see a line wrapping around the store in Oakley, and I'm like, okay, these product is good, but oh my god, like this is very humbling. It was a cool experience because I've seen all the hard work she's put into it. I know what the blood, sweat, and tears I've put into it.
Yeah.
And for people to wait in line like it's a Jordan release or a video
Like you
game
got
release.
PS5s
Yeah,
inside.
just like I thought it was a GameStop. It was awesome. It was just for hot chocolate bombs. It was really cool, and
I'll
like
bring
I
a
said,
PlayStation and we can do a collaboration thing. No,
it
that's good.
was a very humbling experience.
That was a great
so.
day too, because I think I stopped in on opening day. I was late in the day. I missed it. Was it
this
not?
was not opening day. This
Oh,
was
no
like
kidding.
This was last December.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, even better.
And I mean, I mean, that was mid December.
Yeah.
And it was happening for many weeks
I
leading
love
up
that.
to Christmas.
Yeah.
It was exciting.
You know, living in that neighborhood for a while, because I lived just on the other side of the square for a long time, and I always wanted something to happen in that spot that you're in.
I love that spot.
It's
I really
it's
do.
perfect. It's cute. I mean, I hate to use that word necessarily to
No,
describe
but
it.
yeah.
But it is. It's
Well,
like kind of like this adorable little place. You did a great job. I mean, both of you did a great job with the design of it. You know, I know we joked at one point. We're like, it's very Instagrammable, which
Yes.
as silly as that sounds, but that is
Yeah.
important because, you know, look at the wall here. I
Well,
want
that-
people to
yeah.
want to take their picture in front of it, you know?
And that's what we want to
absolutely.
do to the building. Actually, I had shoulder surgery and stuff, so we were going to paint the whole
Oh,
outside
no
the building
kidding.
pink.
That's cool.
And then like with droppings of like chocolate coming down it. But he wants to do
Well, it's
like our sayings on the outside, so people will just stop and
Yeah, of
Well,
course.
I've been to this place, this coffee shop in Austin, Texas, and I think it says like "I love you so much" or it says "I love you too." It's not. You might have.
I
seen
think I've
it on-
seen the picture, yeah.
there's people people not even going to this coffee shop, but they take pictures of it. Right, I'm sure they do.
well, right. No, but but at the
Yeah.
same time.
It's giving and promoting their business, and all it is a little saying on the wall. It's real cute, and people are like, "Oh, Instagrammable pic or Snapchat,"
Right.
and you know, sure enough, it goes a long way because every time I see that coffee shop, guess what? They have people sitting all over the shop.
Yeah, because you're gonna look. If nothing else, you're gonna go. Where did that picture go? Swipe, 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 swipe,
Yep.
swipe. Okay. Oh, you know what? I could go for a coffee right now.
Right.
Well, that's why at our store we have Candyland upside down, which I was totally joking about it, and my brother Tommy and then my mom just ran with the idea. They're like, "Yeah, that's so sweet." I was like, "I was kidding, but I love where this is going."
Yeah.
it's almost like your wall here. It's like,
yeah.
Which kind of came about in a similar way, where I was like, "Wouldn't it be cool if we did this?" And then no one else laughed. I was like, "Oh, I guess it's happening." You know, that was the same for the studio build. But that's kind of how the best ideas come about.
they really
I think
do.
so too.
Yeah,
You just throw them out there and see, who bites.
sure.
But you are right about that shop in Oakley. I mean, the mailmen joke to me all the time that they call that the graveyard because businesses go there to die.
Yeah.
And you would be shocked about the number of customers that come into the shop and they're like, "Well, good luck here." But like they don't. Most of them mean it in the nice way,
Of course.
but some are kind of condescending. Right. And I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna do good. Like,
Yeah, and like the 3 years I was there, I swear it was like 4 different businesses.
oh, you're not kidding. I've lived there for almost 6 years now.
Yeah.
And I've seen, so we're the 4th business I've seen there. Wow. And it's not that the other business, because, the couple of the other places have multiple locations. It's just that spot. So we thought we would bring something great to the neighborhood, and there's not many desserts over there.
Right.
There's a couple, but overall, we have something different that other people don't have to offer, and it's been tremendous.
Yeah, it's like all pubs.
I wasn't. I mean, those people didn't deter me because I told him, I said, "Well, we haven't been in here yet."
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how you have to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we never
us.
looked at it as, because in my opinion, Oakley's still, it's still a baby, where it's come in the last since I've lived
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, the
And it's just only
development is
growing.
unreal.
It's kind of crazy to see because it's been about, gosh, have I been gone that long? It's been about 10 years since I haven't lived there. But driving through it all the time, I'm like, oh, I almost don't recognize this, but in the best way.
Right,
I love to see
right.
it thrive. It was the one thing that I missed when I was living there, and it would have been like 2009-ish. And thinking about how it was like, oh yeah, there's a couple pubs, that's fine. That was about it. And then now to see it expand and grow,
Yeah,
and
it's
I love
flourishing.
seeing that you all have been a huge part of that.
Yeah,
We
we're
love
excited.
it. I love the Oakley community. Everybody's been great to us.
Yeah, they
and
have.
Very supportive.
Through COVID, it was because we opened and then COVID hit.
Yeah, 2 months after we opened, it was COVID, and
But we did wonderful.
Oh I mean, it's been awesome. It's built our business and boosted us even more than before or pre-COVID.
Yep.
I think people were excited for treats and the things like comfort food,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah, we
in
do
the true
well.
sense.
Like on, is it Uber Eats that we do
So
well?
yeah, all the
It's-
delivery services, Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats. That
He
took
did
off.
all that. I don't
Oh
know
my
anything
gosh,
about it.
I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, you just opened the worst box for me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can have treats delivered to the house.
Well,
Perfect.
I mean, it's so convenient. In this day and age, everybody's just, well, I could go out and get it, but it's also raining, and I would rather not go out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sitting there waiting for it's like, oh, only $3.99 delivery fee. Don't mind if I do. My sister and I are at odds. We're pretty close in age, but I'm still like the old school. I'm like, no, I'm going to go to the place if I'm going to do anything.
That's how I am.
Yeah, and but I do like the option, and but I think a large part of me is constantly going, okay, Mark, don't. do that because I know as soon as I do it one time, it's just going to be too convenient the rest of my life. And I'll just laying on the couch, somebody's delivering truffles to me. Are you serious? This is the dream.
So the thing I've noticed, Mark, is that when I do, so I hardly will ever order it unless I'm in a meeting or I'm doing a bunch of work where I can't leave, or there's a snowstorm outside, and I'll tip someone very good to bring that to my doorstep. But I notice I spend an extra like $20 when I do that because I'm like, well, I'm already paying the delivery fee and the taxes on top of it, the service fee. So let's actually add another entree.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
It's got to be good for the business
or another
too.
box of truffle cakes.
Exactly. Oh, this is the most dangerous news I've learned in a while. I kind of regret. I almost regret having you in now to tell me. Like, Mark, did you want to get fatter on your couch? Here's a great path. Try all these delicious treats. So I know we talked about, obviously you can come to Jungle to get it. We can go visit one of your 2 locations, either in Fairfield or in Oakley. How else can we find you? Online?
Yes, you could on our rubyschocolates.com. We ship to all 50 states. Actually, just shipped the furthest one to Hawaii. That was the furthest we've shipped yet, which was pretty cool.
That's really cool.
And then we've shipped out of the country a couple of times to British Columbia and somewhere in the Caribbean. I can't remember exactly, but
that's amazing.
It's pretty cool because I don't know if you've heard of the book. Of course I bring up a book and I can't remember it. Shoe Dog by it's about Phil Knight and how he kind of started the progression of Nike.
Okay.
They had a map that mapped out all the states they had shipped Nikes to. And I kind of do that with Rubies. So it's kind of cool to, marking off Hawaii as the furthest to ship, and it didn't even melt. And,
challenge accepted.
well, with go back to COVID issues, it's a lot harder to ship things during these times. The USPS is a little behind on everything, and it's, not
A little
their
behind
fault.
on everything.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, you could go to our website, check that out.
Are you on social too, right?
What's that?
You're
Oh
on
yeah, you could
social
buy
too.
it. You could buy it through. We definitely recommend if we mentioned it earlier with custom orders, you could directly message us on Instagram.
Cool.
Order through Instagram, and then yes, we're at both Jungle locations, the 3 Dorothy Lane markets, all up in Springboro, Dayton area.
Okay.
A small shop in your neck of the woods.
Oh, really?
It's called Taste on Elm.
Oh,
It's a little wine gourmet shop.
Oh,
It's
that's actually sounds like
really
a perfect combo.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's absolutely awesome, and yeah, we're still growing. We love any opportunity to grow with any business there is in Cincinnati, and we try to kind of partner with other businesses whenever there is a chance.
I love that. What's the Instagram handle, by the way?
Ruby's Chocolates.
Oh, perfect. Easy enough.
No one else had that name. It's great.
Good. Well, Ruby's sweet spot was taken, so that's actually my account. Don't view it. No. Hey, y'all. Thank you so much again for the treats and for your time. I am so glad to have you here in the store. I've actually eaten an embarrassing amount of truffles since your last visit. Like every time I think to myself, oh, I got my weight under control a little bit, I meet someone new making something delicious and realize that I have 0 willpower. It's amazing. Well, another episode in the can, huh? Sweet. Okay, well, here's a little heads up on what I've got coming up on the show soon. Next week, I'm going to run the extended cut of the interview with Tony Woods. Tony is a legendary comedian. He has mentored so many great people. He was really heavily involved and instrumental in the success of things like HBO's Def Comedy Jam way back when. And ultimately, Tony was kind enough to stop into the Jungle while he was here in town to do the show with me and Jungle right before he went off to do his next podcast. It's kind of a small show, and you probably haven't heard of it. It's called The Joe Rogan Experience. I keep laughing about it because I'm just like, why do people keep saying yes to me? This is crazy. Maybe there's a little bit of me going, I'm secretly hoping that he mentions he did this show first. I mean, realistically, it is wild that we have a podcast studio in the middle of an international market, right? That's a cool story. And we get to play with some giant lobsters and all kinds of stuff. I'll post all over social media, so make sure you're following us on, I've said Facebook like 800 times here, but Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. I'll make sure we get some good teasers out there. In addition to this, though, I'm also doing my big seafood spectacular, part 1. I know I've been teasing this episode for months now, and I'm finally hyped to bring it to you. I have the sneaking suspicion that Ross, the king of seafood, and that's my title for him, and now his official title. I feel like he'll be one of those people you ask me to have back on the show repeatedly. And guess what? I want to, because we covered maybe 1% of the ocean, which leaves 99% of the ocean still to talk about. And Ross is just, he's one of those people that's so passionate about what he does and so knowledgeable. I am so excited to give up all of these secrets. So make sure you're subscribed. You can always email me, podcast@junglegyms.com, or call me 513-674-6855. Leave me a message. I want to hear from you people. I think it's fun. We can talk. We can be friends-ish. You know, I really don't want to be too. I'm not a commitment phobe, but I don't know you. You know, I'd like to know the people before I'm like, yeah, we're cool now. We're official. You can try to use my name for discounts at small chain restaurants. You know what I mean? Well, on that, all kidding aside, I appreciate you all so much for listening. Thanks for always sticking around with me to the end of the episode when I'm doing something silly like my outro here. And I'm really looking forward to these next couple of weeks of episodes. So, on that, I'll see you out in the aisles. The Jungle Gyms podcast is recorded in the WJJI studio inside Jungle Gyms International Market in Fairfield, Ohio. The Jungle Gyms podcast is produced and hosted by Mark Borison.